Well, we're out and about today. We are out in Melbourne, Australia. We are checking out the local lowrider scene and culture.
My name is Alistair. I'm from Committed Lowriders, and we thought we'd throw an event today. We wanted to try and get the lowrider community together. That includes lowrider cars, lowrider bikes, motorcycles, the Vicklers, whatever. And then we sort of extended it out to the whole community at the end of the day. We didn't really want to cap it to anyone. We thought, let's throw in a feed for everybody and just get people in and have a good day and have a laugh.
So what's the scene like here in Melbourne? Because you don't see many of these guys out at your regular cars and coffee events.
Definitely.
The guys tend to keep themselves to themselves.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable size scene.
It is. It's a reasonable sized scene, but a lot of people sort of, I guess, don't get out there as much with them. They always try and sort of, largely wait for good weather to come out so they can actually bring the cars out. There's obviously a lot of money and time spent on these cars.
Paint job is not... It's not a rainy day paint job.
No, it's not a rainy day paint job, not at all. There's a lot of metallics, a lot of leafing, multiple layers, and we like to keep them clean as well too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that goes into these builds. I'm personally building a car. It's a 1960 Chevy Impala convertible, and it takes a lot of time and effort, and everyone's a little bit cautious, I guess, with them.
When we talk about, I guess, the scene being big in California,
Yeah.
LA, that's where it kind of feels like the scene came from.
Correct.
A lot of American cars here, and I assume did you import yours from the US? Or?
So I bought mine from a guy in Queensland, Nathan from Rare Embossed.
How many years in are you?
I'm a year and a half in now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But he also, because he's a smaller shop, he does a lot of really high-end sort of quality work.
And we talk US cars, because predominantly
Yeah.
you'd be thinking this scene is all about US cars.
Correct,
But I
yeah.
did see a Holden. There was a
Yeah.
black Holden over there that we'll
Yeah.
take a little bit of a closer
Yeah,
look at
cool.
when we've done a bit of a tour.
Definitely.
But this is not all US. There's a bit of
there's also
Australian flavour to it.
100%. You took the words out of my mouth. I saw a purple LTD, I believe it was. It was like a 94 Fairlane, something like that. And it was on wires and it was lowered and it had some like etching on the glass. I think a company called Mr. Scribbles does it.
How you going? I'm Zelo T, known on Facebook as Zelo T. This is my 66 Cadillac Coupe. It's a convertible. I wrapped it pink. Put these gold wheels on it with the pink pinstripe. A little bit of turned vinyl on there too, just to give it that bit of a pop. And this is where we're at.
What's it run? Airbagged or?
This is hydraulics.
Hydraulics.
Hydraulics, yeah. It did have bags. I was having an issue with them, and I thought, you know what? We're going to juice it, so we put hydraulics through it.
All right, we might pop it open and have a look at the
Yeah.
hydraulics.
It's not the prettiest setup because I just said, you know what? Just make it work, but it works, yeah, so let's get it going.
And I suspect while we're here,
Yeah.
the glass.
The glass. Mr. Scribbles, that is I engrave all that stuff. I do it on, I've just started the business, so hopefully it takes off. And if you need anything done, let me know, man. I can do anything you want, so here we are.
That is killer, that is.
Nothing pretty, but a 2-pump, 6 battery setup.
And quick, I'd imagine, as well, when it moves?
Quick enough, yeah. Better than waiting on air to fill up, that tank. So we're good to go. As long as these batteries are charged, we're good to go, yeah.
I'm amazed today how many
Thank you, brother.
batteries
Thank you.
people are carrying around.
Yeah, hey,
That's a cool setup.
a lot of weight, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight, yeah.
So how did you get into the scene?
The scene. I've always been into the car scene. Look, JDM cars, Aussie cars. My brother-in-law Glenn, shout out to Glenn, Cadillac Cruising. He's got that Cadillac over there. He kept saying to me, man, you keep buying cars, why don't you buy an old classic? I said, nah, man, I ain't into it. He took me for a drive one day. It was over, yeah. So from there, I went and bought my first car. Shout out to Big Uso. That was his car. I bought that off him. We got a juiced Lister, Lister's the man to juice these cars around here.
Yeah.
And from there, it's been game over, man. I'm low riding.
And then with the etching and stuff
Yeah,
that you do,
yep.
how'd you get into that? Like, what's your background with that?
You know what? I just got a knack for drawing. I didn't even know about it, yeah?
Oh,
I just
really?
thought, you know, what else can I do to the car besides having to do all this extra paint and stuff like that? And I
Yeah.
thought about the windows, yeah? There's some blokes in America that did it back in the day. And I just went about and started on my own cars. One of my other Cadillacs, that's got a lot of work in it.
Yeah, because I'd say that's more than a knack. That's a bit of a talent there. I would've thought.
Yeah,
That's,
I see it now. I only did this the other day, yeah? And then directly the day after that, a customer hit me up. He goes, bro, can you do that piece on my Fairlane? So, yeah, I did that on his Fairlane too, yeah. But, nah, it's something different. I'm hoping it takes off. I'm guessing it will.
Yeah.
So
I
whatever
think,
you want, yeah.
Yeah, people will see that.
So I do, yeah, you know, I've done portraits and I've done mirrors and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
Wow.
Get at me.
Very cool.
Thank you, thank you.
So this car here is an ex-individual's car. This car came to Australia, I think about 2 years ago. It's been extensively worked on. So if you look at the paint, there's a lot of sort of ghost patterning going on in here. Multiple layers, heavy flake, pinstriping. It's quite something to look at. And in the sunlight,
Yeah,
it's just
killer.
insane. It just pops.
Yeah.
And all the flake in there, it makes it sparkle, and it definitely is a head turner.
Especially on a day like this.
Oh,
That
the
is
best day,
sharp.
for sure, the best day. And there's a lot of engraving on this car as well too. So
I did notice that, because that's not normally something that I would normally kind of pick up on. But
it's actually, I think it's synonymous with the lowrider style.
Yep.
I've never seen it other than on a lowrider car, but it's sort of taking off. I think I've seen them on Japanese cars where they're doing them in headlights as well too now, or tail lights.
Yeah, okay.
But this is all hand done. So they actually grab the part. I think they strip the chrome off, and I think they polish and repair. And then what they do is they use like a hand tool that engraves onto it. And then once they've done that, they can either chrome it, or they can actually do a couple layers of I guess, finishes, where one is chrome, the second one is sort of gold plating.
Yeah.
And when they do the gold plating, my understanding is once they chrome it, they put like a waxy sort of a substance in between, and then they plate it again to get the two-tone effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think
that's a piece of art. That
yeah,
is, isn't it?
definitely. This car has LA sort of a vibe to it. I believe it was built in Los Angeles, and it has a lot of that West Coast sort of flair. It stands out a great deal here in Australia, and it's something really to look at in person.
Yeah, it pops
Yeah,
so
definitely
well.
pops.
And then we had a look at the wheels, because they are tiny compared to what I'm used to. A scar face on the rear hood. And then underneath, what are we carrying there?
So this car's on hydraulics, 4 pumps, and I think it's 12 batteries. It's definitely something to have a smile of when you're riding, and he hits the switch. It moves quick.
So quick.
It's very quick. This
Because
car.
I'm used to like perhaps an air ride kit on an old
Yeah,
911.
they're very different.
Yeah,
Very different.
slow and
Yeah, you have to wait for the tank to fill up, and
Yep.
this is instant joy. I'd say you just hit it, you'd have a smile on your face, and it'll move real fast.
yeah, that's
So
that is
Hopper's
super
hydraulics
quick.
is, I think, the hydraulic system on this car has 8x dumps.
I was swapping down and moving down around different hydraulic setups. Again, this is a Hopper's one as
This
well.
is another Hopper's kit. It might be a bit of an older kit, but I'm not 100% sure. Funnily enough, this is an ex-committed member's car. His name's Danny, and we'll show you his car next. But yeah, he loves hydros, so I guess he would have juiced that one for sure. And juicing is sort of the term that we use.
that we're going
Yeah,
for.
that's it. Juice with the voltage is what I'd say. So this one's a 4-pump Hoppos kit, and that's definitely an old style Hoppos setup. And
Yeah,
this one
because it's
boogies
definitely
as well
not
too.
just the hydros and the fluid that you're going for here. There's a lot of batteries.
There is a lot of batteries, and that sort of helps with the weight distribution as well too, to make the car dance, I would say.
Yep.
And also to make the pumps move pretty quick, so it lifts fast and drops quick as well too.
Yeah, there's a lot of power there.
The person who owns it, his name's Tony. He's had this car, I believe, for quite some time. I'm not sure if he's done a full restoration on it, but I know that he has a little bit of a flair going on with the engraving. And this one's quite unique in the sense of it has a paisley sort of style pattern, which I personally haven't seen, but it looks really cool. 58s are kind of like they renown them in, I guess, the lowriders sort of scene as like the king of all Chevys. Very rare and exclusive. Yeah.
And I see all the engravings all carried on through the headlights as
Yeah,
well.
that style is actually not very common, so that's quite unique to this car, and probably most engraving that I've seen is that sort of paisley sort of style. This is a 1959 Chevy Impala Coupe. They are pretty rare as well too, to my understanding, and they have a very unique stance with them, especially with the wings at the back.
Yeah.
They're actually one of the cars, I believe, as well too, in the sort of lowrider scene that actually has a very unique flair, and a lot of people like them as well too. The Continental kits in the back, they set them off a great deal.
Oh yeah, that is very cool there.
And the cruiser skirts are very unique to these cars as well too. So the cruiser skirts on the side that cover the back wheel to make it have that lower sort of a stance. They're very unique to the 60s and 59s.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Lee from Lee's Photography. Started as a hobby in probably 2019, and then I jumped into Melbourne's Harley scene with Vic Harley scene and Badman Clothing for their Thursday night ride. Started doing rides off my own back, and then I met two of the lowrider boys probably around 2022 and fell in love with what they do. I flew up to Sydney to enjoy their scene up there, and the bug hit and I had to come back and try and plan something. So the Melbourne scene is here, it's just quiet, and the weather in Melbourne doesn't really help us trying to plan stuff. As you can see today, the boys have come out. It doesn't matter what you roll with, who you roll with, what you ride, just come out and enjoy the day. You got the Vickler bikes, you got the Harleys, the V-Rods, and then the combination of old school
there's
and
a
new
good
school.
scene in the whole bike scene as well, and then
You got hydro dipping on that bike up the back, so that's all hydro dips, and then that's all,
is it?
So that's hydro dip.
We should take a look at that. Hydro dip bike. That is sharp, isn't it?
And so he's done all hydro dipping.
Oh, and there as
So
well.
it's all hydro dipped with gold leaf. He does it all himself. Lowballer Mafia's on the back.
Wow.
I'll give him a shout out.
Yeah.
So they build those two bikes there.
Now, that kind of accuracy and the detail on it, I didn't think you could do that with hydro dip.
Yeah,
but
I didn't either, but he
that-
showed me up with this one.
yeah, that might just be my lack of knowledge rather than the actual quality of a hydro dip, but that is very cool.
And then one of the boys from the southeast learnt how to engrave. Done himself to the pipes, the fishtails, handlebars.
And I didn't really notice it kind of walking past.
There you go.
But there she is.
And this is him, Vic La Vida.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a killer job.
Yes.
Yeah, we spoke to a couple of people here that say they've got a bit of a knack at doing some things.
They have a few
and then
talents.
it turns out there's more than a knack, there's a big talent in it.
And then this is my mate here, Scott. So he does lay frame setups. So he does custom fender extensions. So cuts the frame and mods it himself, and then he does lay frame setups so your bike can sit on the ground.
Yeah.
And then Aussie Vicklers are a big part of the Vickler scene here in Australia, not just Melbourne. So it's incorporating the American side of it, where you got the crazy paint, the crazy detail, the fishtail pipes. And it's just something cool to look at, really.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And those pipes and how it's just laid on the floor.